Hello, my name is Rob Palmer. I'm with the Potts Law Firm here in Springfield, Missouri. Today, we're going to be talking about Teslas and some of the problems that Teslas had. Generally, they're a very good car, and of course, they're very exciting from the standpoint that they are electric and they're very good looking. And I'm sure we've all admired them on the roadway. But I want you to all be aware of certain issues that have come up with Teslas that are very concerning from a product's liability standpoint. Now, generally, crashworthiness is the concept that you receive an injury or death in a situation where you would not expect it. And that's because something is defective or fails in the vehicle. And part of what we're talking about here today is deals with crashworthiness of Teslas. Now, let's start with the first issue, which maybe some of you have heard about, and it's the autopilot feature of the Tesla, which, as you may know, Elon Musk has really pushed the envelope of what his vehicle could do without driver assistance. If you look in the owner's manual or dig very deep in there, you will see what I've highlighted here, that the autopilot feature is not to be used autonomously, that your driver must stay involved. But most people take the word autopilot to mean that they can just let the vehicle drive itself. And in fact, Tesla has been heavily criticized by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, as well as the Institute for Highway Safety, for using a term like this. Tesla has refused to change the name of this feature, and this feature has actually resulted in a number of injuries and deaths. So here's just an example of a young man who died. He had his Tesla, he put it in autopilot. I have a number of films like this one, but this is one of the most graphic ones. So you can see the emergency vehicle parked on the left, and he hits it going 70 miles an hour, and it kills him. Unfortunately, that has happened all too much. Now we found situations like this. It's amazing. Yes, you can hear the person talking. The driver is sound asleep. This is in California, sound asleep, and he's going 75 miles an hour down a busy highway. And literally how this vehicle finally got stopped was a highway patrol officer in California had to get in front of it and actually brake check it slower and slower and slower by staying in front of it until it automatically pulled itself off the road. And then he had to wake the driver up. There he puts his hands on the wheel. Now, the battery, that's one issue. The autopilot feature, very dangerous to be used in the way we just saw that gentleman using it. The technology is not ready for true autonomous driving yet. And it does result in a number of injuries and deaths. Now I want to turn to the fire issue. Teslas have been involved in a number of fires. Now, of course, fires do happen in regular gas-fed cars. They're fuel-fed. But these are different kinds of fires. They don't explode necessarily like a gas fire will, but they are very, very intense. And what you're seeing on the screen is the battery for a Tesla. And it's not a single battery. It's actually thousands of the little batteries that you would see that are in vapes, very similar to that. And when they get ruptured or damaged, they create intense heat. And so much so that it's very, very hard for them to put out. In fact, emergency responders do not usually have the proper foam to put out these type of fires. And I have listed there on the left some of the causes, thermal failure, mechanical failure, short circuiting. That sometimes does happen from accidents. And then there's when the battery itself gets abused. And when these things start to go on fire, this is what you see. Forgive the funky little music here to start, but you can see this. That car which just caught fire spontaneously while sitting along the side of the road. And of course, when it does catch fire, it completely destroys the car. And where this is really dangerous is when people have parked their cars in their garages and their houses burn down. And in some cases, people have died inside their houses. Here's another incident.
Now on might be some scary moments for a driver in the South Bay after his new Tesla mysteriously catches fire.
In this case, he just simply went to the repair shop, and as he was in there talking to him about his tires, the vehicle caught fire. Now here's one where I mentioned about causing the house to burn. In this case, this Tesla ran into the garage door. which probably ruptured the battery. And then it caught fire. And by the time the police got there and firemen, the house was fully engaged. And what's really interesting about this situation is they thought they'd put the fire out, and they dragged the Tesla out, and it caught fire again. It took them 2.5 hours to put out this particular fire, and thousands of gallons of water. And then later on, they put it on the tow truck. I mean, I'll show you here in a second, and it catches fire a third time. And it only took them 20 minutes this time, only 20 minutes to put it out again. So these Tesla fire cases are very, very dangerous, but they're very interesting too. And please keep an eye out for them. And then there are some other issues with Teslas I won't spend that much time on, but there's been a series of people who complained that their vehicle, Tesla vehicle, accelerated, and they didn't want it to accelerate, and they had a hard time getting the vehicle under control, and of course that's very dangerous. There have been reports of airbag defects where the airbag either goes off unexpectedly or does not deploy when it should. And then there have also been a few complaints about the vehicle going from a position of park to drive, which causes it to jump into a wall. I don't know of any injuries or deaths or anything like that from that situation, but of course it's very, very, very scary and very dangerous. So if you run into one of these situations, make sure that you preserve the Tesla. Do not let them, even if it's a fire case and it looks like the vehicle has been really destroyed, preserve the vehicle. Don't accept initial offers from any of the parties involved because we need to make sure that if there is a potential crash within this case or products case, do take lots of photographs of the vehicle from all around the vehicle, and then call us here at Potts Law Firm so that we can help you and investigate the case. And lastly, please do this all before the statute runs. Actually, please do it as soon as possible because the evidence tends to degrade and the case isn't as good later on. So the quicker you can do this, the better. I want to thank you very much for taking a few minutes to spend with me today. If you have any questions about this, don't hesitate to call Eric Jensen, my partner, or myself, Rob Palmer. Have a great day.